Hello everyone, and welcome to Lead, Empower, and Develop, a podcast where we are just crazy about everything leadership. We are so passionate about bringing to you leaders that can help develop and equip you to become the next generation of leaders. My name is Kia Miriminzi, and I'm not alone. I'm with my co-host, Solomon Manyak.
Well, hello, wonderful people. I can't imagine a better way to get our inaugural podcast off the ground than to bring the first citizen of eMalahleni here, Her Excellency, the Executive Mayor of eMalahleni. Welcome, Mama. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you very much, Saul. Good afternoon to you, Kia, beautiful lady. I'm humbled to be in this place.
Welcome once more. Ma'am Councillor LEAH MABUZA, can you please tell us about yourself, where you grew up, your educational background, your marital status, if you've got any children, you know, the type of upbringing that you've had, just so that our viewers can get to know the person that is sitting here next to us today.
Thank you so much. I am born and bred here at eMalahleni. I am a daughter that was raised by a single parent, a woman, and a very strong, prayerful woman, born in 1972 at a backyard. I'm a backyard upbringing. We are 4 in my family, 2 brothers and two sisters, which my younger sister, of course. I've started schooling here at eMalahleni in Khayelitsha Primary School. And we had 2 schools in that school, both Khayelitsha and Sibuko Sethu. And then we were transferred to Sibuko Sethu. But my higher primary, then because they were lower primary and the higher primary was in Konjane Primary School, and then moved to Kopanang High School, where I matriculated in 1991. Still staying with my mom, still at the backyard dweller, living up to the big house, and you are sitting up to a small lanyana room, a 2-room, which we're sharing with my mother, and not only the 2 of us. My mom brought many people into our family, those that were families and those that were people from the street, that we grew up. And in that process, we learned to share. We learn also how to love people that you don't know that will form part of your family. And then in 1991, because my mom did not have money to take me to the school, I started doing piece jobs in the location, Gababu Masinga, and then moved to Pep Store. But in 1992, I had an opportunity to go to Mpondo Zankomo. Of course, my education was funded by one man who had passed away, may his soul rest his peace. That man gave me an opportunity to have a bit of education. When I went to Mpondo Zankomo, I studied business communications, which by then they were N1. I went up to N4. My great experience towards that is that I've learned that even if I could have an opportunity to be educated, you should at least take one person to school, because I've been given that opportunity. And in between that, I got an opportunity in 1996 to get a temporary work at Witbank Hospital in pharmacy. And in that process, then I got an opportunity to be appointed in 1997, permanently February, at an X-ray as a darkroom attendant. It was quite a fascinating journey for me. When government then introduced the issue of the affirmative action, I was given an opportunity to go and work at a patient administration in 1999. And I worked there up until 2003, when I got then a promotional post then to be a labor relations officer. But between 1990, we had to move and stay with my uncle, because my mom was staying at the backyard, and of course at somebody's yard. Okay. We had to stay with my uncle. And when 1996, I had an opportunity to be employed. And then 2003, when I had an opportunity to be in the promotional post at Piet Korenhof, which is popularly known eMalahleni,
Yeah.
but the district office of the Department of Health. 1998, I chose to buy a house. I was employed in 1996, 1997, got a permanent post. 1998, I decided to buy a house for my mom. The imagination of this, my dear, is that I was only earning 800 rand and the bond was 800 rand.
Yo.
You would understand the predicament with that. I had to work 36 hours for me to be able to also take care of the household in spite of having got a bond through that government guarantee and given an opportunity to own a house. For me, it was quite excited because it was that government that has also given women an opportunity to start buying their own house. So I had to start buying a house for my mom because my mother did not have an opportunity to get married and have her own house, but also to stay in people's yard, and I had to give that opportunity, and which I am humbled by the fact that I managed to start at home and build a house for my mom. That's when I then became a resident of Esnambeni, but I'm the child of a Kasi.
Yeah.
So where we are, fast forward, is that in 2027, I then got an opportunity to work with the then Honourable MEC Medical Lady Mahlangu, who was then the MEC for Health and Social Development. And I was appointed there as the political advisor, as well as the private secretary of the diary, actually, of the Honourable MEC. And that contract was for 5 years. And people kept on saying, are you mad, leaving a permanent post for a contract for a post out of the situation where you are? But because God, who is God, you know, and the intuition and ambitions that I wanted to go further, let me take this contractual work. And indeed, it had helped me because in that contractual work, I had to be given an opportunity to study further. Yes. I have enrolled with Mbombela TUT, where I have studied public admin and got my diploma and said, no, diploma is not enough. And then I got my BTEC in 2015. And in 2014, I was then afforded an opportunity then to resign in the public service. It was a hard decision, but it was quite exciting because now I had to move to a political office where I became an elected as a regional secretary of the African National Congress from 2014 till 2021. Safe to indicate that I was humbled by that deployment. For me to leave an actual job and to do a political work that you don't know what will be your tomorrow.
True.
And the fact that politics are changing, you don't know tomorrow what is going to happen. But I took that risk because I was ambitious, to wanting to learn, wanting to be exposed, wanting to find something out of these things. And indeed, that journey also taught me a lot. It has taught me to be well-grounded with what I understand with the political party that I belong to, which I'm not afraid to indicate it. Where do I belong? And the position that I hold is, of course, of that deployment. But safe to indicate that in 2021, I was then afforded an opportunity. In between, I had two boys, two beautiful sons, Tabiso Likamkhelo, which are my children, and got married in 2015 to my husband, MABUZA. We have a big family because we're getting married. He's got almost 6 children, so all of them, they are grown up. I can tell you, I'm a grandmother where I am. You must not see the small face. I'm a grandmother, but quite excited of the family that I have, the MABUZA family, of course. A husband that is very supportive, a husband that wouldn't mind for me to do my political work while he's sitting at home waiting for me, without even wanting to fight, to say, you are coming late. Instead, I would find all the chores of the house being done, for the fact that we are a family and we support one another, which I'm quite honored and blessed to receive such a husband. Safe to indicate that, children have grown up, we're still working hard, you know, we're still working for our people. My husband is in business. We're still working hard in making sure that at least our people, those that were able to assist, we assist. Those that were able to develop them, we develop them. And up to where I am, 2021, I was then taken to Nkangala district for an executive mayor there, which I was humbled by that deployment because it was giving me an exposure of 6 municipalities, which I was responsible to coordinate and also to ensure that we give necessary support into those municipalities. And in 2023, the African National Congress requested that I come to Emalahleni and also drive in making sure that we change people's lives, we respond adequately in terms of service delivery, which is quite an exciting journey for me.
Yeah.
And me as wanting to work and workaholic and wanting to find solution out of difficult time, I'm fascinated by where I am now, which is that of the executive mayor of Emalahleni.
Wow.
I think, when I listen to your story and where you started and the fight and the fighting that you had to do, it tells me that things never came easy to you and you had to learn how to fight from a young age. How has that affected your personality? Like, how did that build into the person that you are today?
Wow. Yeah, it has been a good fight. For then it was a difficult fight, but for now it has been a very enriching fight for me because the funniest part in my growing up is that my mother was bringing up boys.
Okay.
We were sitting with boys that will never abuse you, boys that will never take an advantage of you because your mom is not there.
It's not there.
My mom was not a domestic worker. She was a worker. She was a gambler.
Okay.
She was gambling, copy dice by then. There were no casinos, but we survived with copy dice.
She was hustling.
She was hustler. She was a hustler. If there were tenders by then, probably she would have been a big bit because she was a go-getter. That was my mom.
Yeah.
And in that household where we're growing with those boys, she was teaching them how to cook, how to watch while she was hustling. And the upbringing with boys gave me an instance of making sure that it was never difficult for me to work with men. It has gave me an edge to say you can even approach or have a discussion with men without a fight.
Yeah.
So for me, leading men is not difficult because
You've worked
I've
with
seen
them.
at home, I've grown up with them. And I know how they react, and I know how I should react when you engage with them. So it was never difficult for me. And indeed, at some stage, you had to fight. In the department where I was working, my managers were men.
Okay.
The only boss that I had who was a female, it was the Honourable MEC. But I've been under a man's arm all along.
Yeah.
And it was never difficult for me when I was a regional secretary because you are leading executive mayors who are men. You are leading speakers who are men. You are leading chief whip. You are leading councillors who are men. You are leading branches of the ANC who are led by men. So there was never a difficulty for me, but you had to put emphasis and push harder so that they don't take you for granted because you are a woman. So leading men for me, it's not something that it's a challenge that when it comes here and his approach then will threaten me because I was never threatened by a hard approach. Instead, we want to give solutions. And that has given me an opportunity to say, when you look at a difficult thing, what is the solution? What is the positive thing that can come out of this difficult situation? And that is who I am.
Wow, that is so inspiring. That is so inspiring. And I could totally relate with what you said, leaving a permanent job for a contractual job because you know where you want to be, you know where you want to go, and you know the contractual one is the one that's actually going to give you that upper step into the right direction. Wow, you said a mouthful. But what I'm interested in, between being a mother, a wife, how do you find a mayor? How do you find that work-life balance? How do you do it with this demanding role that you have?
Yeah.
At times it's difficult. My husband has to advocate for me in the families to say, leave, my wife is working. And at times I had to have that conscious to say, hey, by the way, he's not only my husband. I got married to a family. And the MABUZA family is a big family. So I have to give time. I have to reschedule my work so that I be with my family. And let me tell you, my sister, at home, I am Mama MABUZA. I'm not the mayor
Yeah,
at home.
of course.
If we have to cook on the ground, say I beg it the food and cook with the family. If we had to do all the funny things that families does during the gathering, I do that. I forget if I'm a man.
Of course.
Because you want to bring your family closer. You don't want to be far away from them on the basis of the position that you possess. So that tomorrow, even if you are not the mayor, they are able to open their doors and say, come in.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
there's one thing that we forget as women. When we're in these positions and we think that we want to be special even into our families, into our neighbors, into our siblings, and forget that these things are going to come and go and your family remains. Those are the ones that should be your pillar. Those are the ones that should be your support during difficult times, because in this deployment position, it is not an easy journey. Everybody who are surrounding you wants to be the mayor.
True.
And indeed, if politics changes, you will be removed and somebody will be there. But you have to have a home where you'll come and be with your family and your family accepts you. So I'm trying my utmost best that I make such a balance. If these things are not important, I reschedule to be with my family, to be with my immediate family and the entire siblings, so that you bring that balance and also educate your family as to, you will be with me today, but next week you will not be with me. So I can't. For the fact that I have to balance being here, the next time being at work, because also your society needs you.
Depends on you.
Your structures need you. Your community structures need you. So it's a work that you have to definitely plan ahead as to what is it that you must do, and also be able to give that joy to all these structures that are surrounding you as the executive mayor.
And you know, I was listening to you talking about how you grew up in a home where your mother basically had an open door. She used to take people in and take care of them. And I just wonder how that impacted you in terms of getting into politics. Is that something that played a role in you wanting to get into politics? Because I can imagine as a politician, the purpose of it is to basically serve people. Do you think that experience as a young child definitely made you want to get into politics, the opening of doors to people?
You know, for my politics career started at high school. When in 1992, the issue of COSATU, the issue of the schools, teachers union, the issue of the schools starting issues of SRC. I don't know what we were doing, but we were taught that there should be something like a school, my apology, a school representation, a school student representation. And I didn't know what was that. And immediately we were nominated to be part of that structure. But my upbringing, my brother, it's sort of, we had a lot of uncles, because most of these, either the family members, either the siblings, either the people that were coming from our Omamngane, all of them, they were looking at my mother as their sister, their big sister. So to us, they were uncles. The protection that we received, you wouldn't even go to the street and play. You would have had few hours to go to the street and play, because you had lots of uncles that are surrounding you to see that you are not disappearing. There is nobody who's harassing you, nobody's beating you up, and all those things. That did not taught me politics, but I was fascinated by the fact that there was a transition. Remember 1990, 1991, there was a transition going on in South Africa that says we are now going into the dawn of democracy. And everybody was ambitious to say, who is Mandela? What is this Mandela? And at school, by then, you were not even allowed to be taught by our black heroes that participated in the struggle and were in exile, and others were in prison. It would be just be a hint. You know, teachers will say this and say, Ish, remember that we're not allowed to teach you these things, but these things are happening. And that transition gave me an ambition to say, I really want to get into this and want to understand who is this Mandela that we're talking about. You know, we are going to laugh. When the president that Mandela was released in jail, we had to take a truck, a municipal truck, and enter on top of that tipper truck to go to Orlando to see Mandela.
Yo.
Because of the ambitions that we had, to say we want to see him. We want to see this man who has so much history that we do not know, that we have never given an opportunity to learn about it. Maybe these children of today, they know what is history, who is Mandela. But you know, we had to learn it on the way.
Yeah.
We had to learn it on the way that there is this Mandela, there is Sobukwe, there is this, and that in politics. And it fascinated me. And when we offered it an opportunity to be a student representative, then it was then we're given into series of politics, which it did not start at high school. It started at a higher primary in Konjane, where you'll have your Thomas Mahlangu, the former Thomas Mahlangu, our hero, may his soul rest in peace, that they would come into our primary school and try to teach us what is happening and what is the transition that is coming. But in high school, it became more relevant when teachers were then now saying, we have an obligation to establish school representative councils, which now are SRC. And I was part of that team with our Pastor Glenn Makama.
Yeah.
Pastor Glenn was the chair. I was the secretary of that nominated structure. But it had to, along the way, disrupted on the basis that all of us were learning. And then there was then a school representative, which now we're starting at Mpondo Zankom, which we called Aboma. It was not then the current structures that you find at, they will call it the Sykes programs, which were at school. And then at school, at technical also, we had SRC. So we would interlinked and begin to learn the politics and the revolutions and the people that are in exiles, because you would hear that the group of people are now coming back and you want to know who are these people, why did they went? And you begin to learn the history, 1960, 1961, 1962, what happened into the history of the African National Congress as a result of many people that had to go to exile. But fast forward is that my journey for politics started at high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
When and then I went to Mpondo Zankomo. In Mpondo Zankomo, when we were there had to be a transition of putting more black lecturers into the technical colleges.
Okay.
And I was elected as a treasurer of SRC.
Amazing.
Where then then it was when politics started.
Yeah.
Because we had to fight with the then white dominant structures, your school principals, your school management, to put more black lecturers, which I'm proud of that, because Mpondo Zankomo, it started with our tenure to have black lecturers, which others were taken right directly from the school as they pass and pass well, and then they were turned into lecturers. Others were qualified lecturers, which they came into the school, and it started, and then it goes.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be forming part of the 1994 administration, but along the way, we got missed. But eventually, I got an opportunity to be appointed in 1996. When I arrived in Witbank Hospital, my politics was just a moving. I was moving. I was nominated and elected into NEHAW. I led NEHAW, whether as the branch chair, whether as the secretary. I was the best performing branch, where the then Secretary General of COSATU, Zwelinzi Mabavi, came to my branch in Witbank Hospital, because national I was the best performing branch in NEHAW.
Amazing.
To honor our branch, to visit our branch. It was quite excited, because along the way we'll then, with those branches within the COSATU, you'll then form a local structure, which we called it a COSATU local.
Yeah.
I then led in that COSATU local, either as the secretary and either as the chairperson. And then in 2006, 2007, when there was that national big national strike in 2007, and then after that I was then taken to Nelspruit. Nelspruit I went for for actually campaigning for the ANC, because there was a preparation of the premier, the then former deputy president, MABUZA, to come in as the premier of the province. We were taken at work under COSATU to go and campaign at Mbombela. Quite a very difficult moment, but we came out victorious for the honorable member MABUZA to become a premier. And when I thought that I'm done with Nelspruit, I'm coming back home, then they said, no, you're not going back home, you're working in the provincial office. That's how I got my promotion.
Okay.
And yeah, I was humbled by that moment, because that process, it has taken me to be from an ordinary admin officer, shook directly to be a director. Then that's where my life started changing.
Okay.
Because my vision was that I want to finish my bond so that I officially hand the house to my mom.
Your mom, yeah.
And that is what I did.
Yeah.
And I was so excited, because I then moved fast in paying my bond. I did
Beautiful.
not start with many things, but I focused on making sure that my mom has got a home where she would say, this is my house.
Indeed, indeed. So, with politics and the struggle, you made mention of how you got into politics at high school, how you wanted to see Nelson Mandela, you know, the former and late president, yes, who was then at the time the leader of the African National Congress. But coming fast forward to 2023, today's generation believes that the ANC is too corrupt to renew itself. I just want to know whether you agree with those sentiments.
You see, as time goes, you know, there was one powerful notion made by one leader in the African National Congress to say, yes, people see the African National Congress as corrupt, but remember that it is the leadership that have learned the Bantu education that is leading this government. The Bantu education that has brought this government up to this far. We know that many people have got perception about the African National Congress being corrupt, and of course all of them, those that are being found to have done wrong, exposed, put into accountability through the justice system. But the name of the African National Congress as a brand on its own, it's not corrupt. It's not corrupt. It's people who have been afforded an opportunity, just like I am being afforded this opportunity to lead,
True.
and decides to be above the ANC and do what the ANC has said I should not do. Because there is never in a meeting of the African National Congress that we sit and you are sent to go and do the wrong thing. The mandate of the ANC is simple. Better the lives of our people.
Indeed.
Change the lives of our people. Do what we said we must do. Reconstruct our country into a better and a fitting country for all the people who are living into the country. Take your mandate from the 1951 Freedom Charter. Look into making sure that you develop policies that are talking to the 1951 Freedom Charter that was proclaimed in 1955 at the Freedom Park in Gauteng, Ekurhuleni. And it is not that African National Congress that it can change and say people must be corrupt. It is individual. And we want to advocate and want to tell our young people that don't look at the ANC as the corrupt government. And also acknowledge the fact that the people who took the ANC from exile and took it into democracy, for us to have a democratic government, are the people who studied Bantu education. And the Bantu education that had taught along the way why people were leading to say this is how government must run. Of course, mistakes will happen,
Of course.
which we acknowledge them. And those that have committed those mistakes, others deliberately committing corruption, are facing trials. We know that everybody says president has not done not enough to deal with corruption. The reality is that those that have been found are subjected to the justice system, which is what we must acknowledge. And indeed, the revolution of ensuring that we permanently change the lives of our people is going on. The world is not static.
No, it's not.
Changes are happening in the world that warrants government to change in its policies, in what it said it wanted to do. The only thing that we need to do is to at times communicate with our people that as the environment changes, you see, when there was recession, it had to change your policy direction. It had to change the manner in which you resource your government programs, because there is recession. That did not start in South Africa.
Of course.
It has started in the world because we're part of the global world.
Indeed.
So young people need to understand that when there are so many difficulties, it is not because of the corruption. Other issues are affected by the world and the environment which we live in, which we are part of the globe. And therefore, we are collaborating. We have agreement. We have economic, which is a multi-economy of the country that is dependent to other countries. That is why you will have challenges in the country for you to say you are growing your economy, because if you are saying your economy is dependent in America, and if America is having recession, definitely you will be affected as a country. That is why the African National Congress opted for a multi-purpose. And that is why today we're in BRICS, because we want to develop our country. Also looking at trading economically with Americans, the First World War, because there are opportunities that we get there, there are opportunities that they see in us. The one thing that we must fight at is that these First World War countries must not see an opportunity that they will exploit our people for the second time.
Actually, I remember reading a document where the ANC characterized these ills that are befalling the organization characterized them as the sins of incumbency, which is, basically a fancy way of saying, you know, we're in power and these are the trappings and sometimes the temptations of being in power, you know. But the honest truth of the matter is that the ANC has suffered electoral decline since probably the tenure of Jacob Zuma, His Excellency former President Jacob Zuma. And this has basically brought us to a point where many people have predicted that come 2024, the ANC will be either on the opposition benches or they will be a coalition partner. What do you characterize the prospects of the ANC in light of the forthcoming election?
My brother, the ANC is going to win election. People are saying the 9 wasted years of the then President Jacob Zuma. Forgetting that the 9 wasted years, it was the 9 wasted years that brought in 2010 World Cup. That brought in a massive infrastructure development in the country. That made so many black people, which I'm not apologetic, black people to be millionaires. The 9 wasted years that brought in a zero hunger into the country, where our children, which are coming from poor families, that are receiving meals on daily basis. The 9 wasted years that has brought down the HIV contamination, because those that were at zero something, were taken to immediately medication, so that we increase the lifespan of our people. A 9 wasted years that says, let us have a higher education, a free higher education, in spite of the challenges of resources. So we want to remind our people that it was never an easy 9 years of the President Jacob Zuma, but years that have developed this country immensely, immensely. And a 9 wasted years that brought us BRICS, because today we're proud to be part of BRICS. We're proud to be part of China, Russia, India, those that are saying we also want to build South Africa as a developmental country, to be a better country. And we are a country that is astonished and resemblant by the whole world on how did we manage to bring free basic services to those that are unable to afford, to bring free houses to those that are unable to buy bond and those that are unable to build their own houses. To be a country that brings clinics, a free healthcare service, that we're moving into a national healthcare that says we must also have a free hospital services. It's a 9 wasted years that developed all those programs. And because, of course, it was not President Zuma was at the face. If people want to say it was a 9 wasted years, they might say to the ANC, your policies were 9 wasted years. So you put a person to lead the policies of the African National Congress and not that person who is now becoming the exact person who you should blame. They should have blamed the ANC 9 years of that wasted years. But unfortunately, they've opted to vote for the ANC. Even if we had the 9 wasted years. Because people understand where we come from and where our challenges and where we are ambitions to go. And the reality is that in all these parties that have been developed, they have never been in a position to say, this is where we are, this is where we are challenged, and this is how far we want to go. And it is only the African National Congress that has got a machinery to take our people into confidence to say, this is where we are, and these are the challenges we are faced with, and how are we going to address these challenges? All of them are just making noise. All of them are blaming the ANC of the wrongdoings, and we would want to see political parties, those that are called themselves opposition parties, also assisting on how do we take our country forward. We're not in the ambition of a coalition government. We are here to say we're going to contest this election with our machinery. We will tell our people what we have done. The president in Soweto has already indicated our manifesto review, and that manifesto review indicates the work that have been done in the 30 years of democracy. And what we are saying, we're not going to our people to ask them, what can we do for them? We are going to tell them what is it that we've done. That is why they should vote back the African National Congress into power and trust into the president, Ntate Ramaphosa, to say he is doing better and we are going to be better. We just need a united South Africa that understands these policies, and us as local government being able to consistently talk to our people what is the ambition of government and what do we want to achieve and when do we want to achieve and how do we then embark on mobilizing resources. Hence, you see the president is moving along the world to request the resources to come to South Africa so that we develop our country for the better country. And everybody wants to be a South African lately. As you can see, majority of immigration are wanting to be part of South Africa because they see what is good and what opportunities that exist in South Africa. And they would wish that our South African can also see in that way, to say South Africa is a beautiful country and there are opportunities that they can embark on to build this country, to develop this country, to be a better country.
Sure. Yeah, no, you said a lot. But with all of that, with the ANC, I think it is safe to say that during the next elections, our leading party will still be in leadership.
Would be there. Definitely.
But let's bring it back home to our local municipality. In your acceptance speech, you indicated that there are a list of short-term priorities that you want to achieve in the first 100 days in office, followed by the medium and long-term priorities. I just want to know, can you indicate to us what those short-term priorities were and the progress thereof?
Okay. In my 100 days, I've indicated that one of the fundamental things that we should look into is to ensure that we re-energize our people. When I say our people, the staff in particular, because there was a low staff morale. We must also build our collateral damage on the basis that the relationship between ourselves as the municipality and the community was not well content. We must be able to be a financial viability municipality. We must bring capacity so that we are able to respond to issues of service delivery. We must also look into what the Auditor General said for us to move from a static audit opinion to a better opinion outcomes. We must be a municipality that have financial reserves for us to be able to start looking at our budget. In the 100 days, I've also indicated that there is a need to enhance an LED development unit into the city so that it responds to the economic commodities of the city, which is that of mining, that of industrialization, that of manufacturing, that of agriculture, and that of tourism. And the centrality of municipality and the strategic center where we are, joined by N12 and N4, gives us a maximum tourism exposure with all the internal tourism places that include the long term of building a mining museum into the city, that we don't get lost of the history of the coal mining city of the municipality, the contribution it has made into the city as well into the country, because you know that Mpumalanga, Malahleni in particular, your mining companies are also the one that contributing to the energy of the country. And I've indicated that it is important that we must build a social cohesion with our people. A municipality must be in the position to have an interactive with our people through sports, which in the city we have produced a lot of sports people, at legend for that matter. That sports can then be something that cannot be taken into consideration for our people to be given an opportunity also to explore in that. And hence you need to capacitate your community service development. We spoke of e-crime in the city to say there should be a need to enhance your bylaw enforcers at the same time respond to what people are saying in terms of crime, because when the minister indicated that Malahleni is one of the cities that are not safe at all in terms of crime, we need to do something as a local municipality, which of course this local municipality has got a potential to increase its unit of crime prevention towards making sure that at least we elevate while we're working with the police. This crime does not only affect our people, it does affect the municipality, because you have a lot of cable theft, you have a lot of infrastructure vandalism, others is made purposely because then there should be outages. We were asking ourselves as to whether these things are created by individual people or are created by service providers so that they continue to do services with the municipality, because of course when there is outage, you would have to have somebody that must bring electricity with immediate effect, and in the municipality such a capacity you do not have. You must rely on the service provision. We came to the municipality and realized that majority of the money that comes to the municipality is spent through service providers. And we had to minimize, we had to cut down issues of service providers to see which are the service providers that are definitely essential responding to service delivery. And those that we think we can build internal capacity, it's a program that must start, which we have started with that. And in my 100 days, I've also introduced that we must meet with management and all honorable councillors every Tuesday 7:30, so that the service delivery departments, which is that of environment and technical. Technical is composed of roads, is composed of water, it's composed of electrical, to report as to what is it that they are doing on daily basis. And would appreciate the people of the city to appreciate that the city is now better, the city is getting cleaner. We are putting more effort in making sure that we clean the city. And that has been happening ever since my arrival. And it was one of my mission that we must first clean the city because it was dirty, there were no grass cutting, there were no tree pruning, there were no collection of waste. They were just a city, and you could sense the demoralization of the staff. And in the 100 days, I've met the staff of Malahleni. It's all entirely to say, guys, let us wake up. Let us deal with your internal issues. but at the same time, let us service our people. And the response was good. I visited the entire city through clusters to meet the community, ordinary citizens of this city, to say, I am greeting you, I am here. I want to present the plan that I want to present to the municipality to bring some change. And of course, we'll be working collectively with administration and honorable councillors. And in all the 8 meetings that I've attended with the community of the city, I did not receive any bad response. People welcomed me with a warm hand, had hope that indeed the city is going to change. I've presented that indeed want to have an LED that is talking to our economic commodities of the city. And they were excited. It is a matter of ensuring that we implement this thing. The structure of the city should also embrace the fact that it should change into making sure that we have a team that is responsive to service delivery. And that structure, it has to be brought to council so that we start implementing a fully fledged LED. Fully fledged LED that will have an advisory council, an advisory council that will embark on our economic commodities and also give us an economic analysis, because I don't believe that these are the only 5 economic commodities in the city. We want to believe that we can grow into other mineral resources that are in the city that we need to focus on, but we need a research, we need a scientific research that tells us that this city can be able to embark on such commodity. Remember that coal continued to grow into the city of Emalahleni, but now you have this new Dawn project that is telling us that we must also move into renewable energy. And the renewable energy that also gives us an opportunity to embark on such economy, which we call it a green economy. And that green economy gives an exposure to the city, as the Presidential Climate Change Commission has nominated the city to be part of the Presidential Change Climate Commission, which the city, the executive mayor will be embarking on a study tour on a climate change in Europe. We're going just on the 14th this week to go and study as to how these other 4 countries that we'll be visiting are managing the renewable energy, and how are they then becoming stable towards that renewable energy. We know that there is a narrative that says it is not a stable commodity, a renewable energy, on the basis that you are producing this energy through natural resources. And what if there is no sun? What if there is long rain? What then you're going to do? And which want to study as to how do they survive, and if they are embarking back into the coal fossil energy, which this country currently we're living on a coal fossil energy that says we must produce more energy because the country is going and people want electricity. Business are going down on the basis of load shedding. And we are excited to say we as the municipality, as the license holder, district actually is the license holder, but we also has an authority to allow Gusile to continue to produce energy through coal fossil, but also look into the program of making sure that it doesn't damage the population, that creates issues of environment, whether it on animals or whether on human beings. And the unit 3 that has just been taken back to work, it has given us a lesser load shedding. But it is important that we must begin to teach our people on these issues of the renewable energy, on these issues of the solar plant that must be established and be reconstructed into the city of Emalahleni. And we don't know with the study tour on the climate change, what is it that is going to bring, but I'm hoping that is going to bring more opportunities of giving our people an opportunity to embark and also enter into this green energy, and also get opportunities of skilling and reskilling, and also the technology that it is bringing, this green energy. And we are confident that our young people, in majority, we must be in the position to say we absorb them so that they begin to learn. Also, the green energy also gives us a technology towards agriculture. Our young people must embrace that we are a city that have got a opportunity in agriculture. They must enter into that field. and so that they begin to develop themselves towards being employees and employers.
Employers,
That is
yeah.
what we want actually. We want to see them as employers so that they create opportunities for other people, and for us to be able to grow our economy. So we're excited, and where we are saying the city of Emalahleni has got a lot of opportunities. People have been saying it's a city that is in ICU. The municipality is in ICU. Indeed, it was in ICU.
Okay.
And my coming into the city, I've tried to say, let's wake up, so that you see these opportunities. I am on weekly the basis presenting these opportunities so that everybody sees that we've got a potential to grow to a metro. The population of the city is growing to 3.8 every annum. It tells you that that population needs to have a proper planning in the future. In terms of your integrated human settlement, your spatial planning, your economic development, in terms of your electricity supply, your water supply, your infrastructure, how do we then have to do it in response to the future? Because currently, if the family has got 3, you must know that in 20 years or 18 years' time, that family would
They've
have grown to
multiplied.
9 to 10. So you must
yeah,
plan towards that as the city. And the city in its capacity in terms of collection revenue, Kia, we do not collect enough. And the low revenue collection gives us a stress in terms of supplying consistent service delivery. And we're appealing to our people, Uguti, paying services, it's being responsible. So that the city also is responsible in giving prompt services to them. And also paying your service delivery gives the city an opportunity to develop better towards creating opportunities for our young people, for women, for people living with a disability to enter into all these activities, and therefore there should be a generation of revenue so that they are able to pay services. We also understand that our people are not working. But what government says to those that are working, particularly on the programs of municipalities, is that we have given you an indigent registration policy, where we're saying if you're not employed, come and register to an indigent registration policy for you to benefit for free basic services. And at the same time, we as municipality, national government is paying us for us giving these people that are unemployed free basic services. That we call it an equitable share.
Yeah.
So if our people are coming in their numbers to register on indigent register on the basis that they are unemployed, government pays us for giving those people free basic services. And it's both beneficial to the local municipality as well to the person that is unemployed. And we want to urge our people that they must come. And we are embarking on a process with ESCOM, the Circular 124. Circular 124, that gives us an opportunity to make an application to ESCOM for a debt relief. And a debt relief of 8.5 billion. It is possible to be cleared in 36 months should we comply with the requirements of Circular 124. And for us to realize Circular 124, we need maximum participation of our people. That include the installation of meter boxes, both of water and electricity, into all the households, into the areas where we've formalized, the areas that we called informal settlement. But other areas we have already surveyed and formalized it. We must electrify them. We must reticulate them so that they have water. We are accountable to that water that we supply there. We are accountable to the electricity that we give those people. So those that are in those formalized, informal settlement, we will be electrifying them, which it becomes a medium term. It will depend if in national infrastructure grant, that we call it INEP, is giving us more money for us to electrify those areas, so that we are accountable to the electricity that we take there through smart meter boxes, and as we give them electricity, they are able to pay their electricity. We know that we have developed some township areas, Yoduva, Yosiangoba, Empumelelweni, which some of those areas have not yet received electricity now. One of the challenges is that ESCOM abandoned us to say, you are owing me 8.5 billion,
Billion,
how
yeah.
do you expect me to give you more
give you, yeah.
electricity? Whereas our people are embarking, Solomon, to say, we want electricity. And therefore there is an increase of illegal connection. Because people want electricity. And that illegal connection is created by the fact that everybody wants to tap into the same grid, which we've got minimum electricity that we get from ESCOM. And those areas, as they expand, you must also apply for more electricity into ESCOM, and ESCOM says, no, you are owing us 8.5 billion. So those are the predicament and challenges that we're faced with at the city. But we're happy that in the last 8 or 9 months, we've been consistently paying ESCOM account, even though we're not paying it up to the fullest, but we've been consistently paying, which the application for Circular 124, it is with us, with ESCOM, but is monitored by COCTA as well as National Treasury to say you are in compliance for us to approve you. Our benefit in entering into Circular 124 is that ESCOM, immediately as we get approval from the National Treasury, it will then remove all the interests from the 1st of March till to date. That would be a biggest relief for the city,
Yeah, of
because
course.
I can tell you, Kia, we are paying ESCOM on daily basis. We are paying ESCOM 3 million every day. And when you count that money on the duration of 30 days, it is almost 30 million to 35 million. And ESCOM is expecting municipality to pay him 50 million every month
Sure.
on the electricity that we are supposed to pay ESCOM. And on winter, ESCOM is giving us an amount of over 226 million that we must pay of electricity that we must pay at ESCOM. And you can imagine if we are paying almost 35, we're expecting to pay over 200 million every month.
Yeah.
That becomes a stress to the
Hefty,
municipality, because ESCOM will then increase our tariffs and increase also the interest that
The interest,
is there.
yeah.
So that Circular 124
124
gives us a relief of the termination of the increase that they should put on the, but we must be consistent in terms of paying the electricity that we're getting in ESCOM every month. We want to indicate that it has been quite a fascinating 100 days, which we will deliver as to what is it that we've done on the 31st of October in terms of governance. And I'm excited to indicate that in the duration of the 100 days in the municipality, I have found that municipality that was not even saving a cent.
Yeah.
I've asked them that please weekly, let's put 100,000 away,
Okay.
starting short. And I was excited that when people started coming into paying services, we've increased that 100,000 to 200,000. We're saving now 200,000 every week. So we're sitting at 11, if not 15 million. That is our bank reserve that we have put aside. So that this municipality, even if it approach any bank for development, we have something. Departments currently, provincial government as well as national government, will never give us money unless they want us to co-fund. So we're now co-funding projects that we're getting, that we are presenting to national or provincial government. So we must be in the position to say, if we want to fix all asbestos pipe, we must be able to be in the position to co-fund. Co-funding simply means you must be committed that you will deal with this project and finish it once and for all, to avoid issues of making a project and then at the end of the day, you abandon that project. Because it is what we've been seeing. Or you're doing that project halfly and then you leave that project. So government has then came in with the strategy that all of us, we must co-fund on the budget, which DWS, the Department of Water and Sanitation, is playing an enormous role into the water waste treatment as well as water treatment. The supply of water and making sure that sanitation is properly and avoid issues of leakage so that you then have your Hammanskral. So they are coming on board on the request that we've made to say we have a dilapidated infrastructure. We need to refurbish our infrastructure in terms of pipe, water bulk supply, as well as our water waste treatment. also of our package plant, water package plant, which for us as the municipality, we don't have such money. Currently, when we've made our analysis, we need 1 billion. And DWS is prepared to give us 1 billion, provided we're committed that we'll spend that 1 billion, we will do exactly what they expected, what we want to do. We are not closing out for private sector, which private sector in their SLPs and CSI want to make them to focus on infrastructure investment, because the 1 billion is not enough. The city is growing. There is a lot of demand of electricity and water, and therefore you need private sector to work and cooperate and collaborate with the municipality for infrastructure development into the city, so that when you grow the city, you also plan towards the future. And you must have such an infrastructure ready for the growing population, for the growing of young people that are currently at school. Later, there will be young people that will have their own independent and want to stay in their flats. Therefore, the city must be ready for that. Our challenges is the land availability in the city, because remember, when you have so much business, and it is that business that is taking an enormous land. When you have this coal power station, they own enormous land, and which that land, they reserve it for their own business. And the city has to be crammed into a small area for its development, which we are in discussion with all these private sectors to say, if you give us a little bit portion, and that portion, it must be an integrated human settlement. That gives you a school, that gives you a shopping center, that gives you an SMME hub development. It must give you the church stands. It must give you everything that must happen into an integrated human settlement. Currently, the city is growing towards that area, which is the Nempumelelweni, and also is growing to that area, which is Siyanqoba Clarinet. We also want to bring the city to grow to that area, which is the Dover area. We are excited that human settlement is part of the discussion, and also there are decisions that are taken that we are going to be developing Dover. Young people are staying at the backyard into the families in the city. And we are saying, for them, we must be providing opportunities that are closer into this, the area of towns for development, which is Dover, where we're focusing. To say, we'll have low-cost houses there, we'll have people who says, I am unable to get a bond, I am working, but I'm unable to get a bond. I need to be afforded a place there. Dover Township establishment gives us a lot of opportunities. It's a prime land, including the Spring Valley area, which human settlement is the one that is responsible for the development of that area. So that we take our backyard dweller into that area, so that they assist us in making sure that they are closer into the city. They also access opportunities and also build their businesses. We have young people in the city that are very intelligent, that we say our LED must be able to be responsive on their ideas that they're bringing to the city, so that we respond accordingly. The LED must be able also to give us an essence as to whether the economy of the city is revolving around the city, which currently we don't see that happening. People that are residing in the city, they do shopping in Pretoria, they do shopping in Gauteng, and if we are not, as a municipality, look into developing that city so that our money revolves around the city, we will not be able to develop the city. We're excited that the council took a decision that macro must be coming into the city. We're done with that, it is coming. By November, we'll just be hitting the ground running there. There will be a dust. I'm allergic to dust, but I'm going to see the dust there, which macro gives us an opportunity also of the shopping center next to the macro. A beautiful design that they've presented to the council. We've already met with this management. They are prepared to start as soon as possible, which is going to give us almost over 1,000 job opportunities for our young people in the city. And we've requested that they must focus on their criteria requirement, which those that must be getting this opportunity, it must be people who are voting into the city. We are not discriminating any young person coming any other town, but it's important that we must start with our
at
own.
home.
Because what we have observed in Kusile is that there have been a lot of people that came here, but we have not seen an enormous opportunity of the people that are residing in the city. So the people of Emalahleni are coming first into the development of the city. The second one that is within the medium term, which I'm going to be signing the MOU, both with macro as well as the solar plant that is coming into the city. It's also going to absorb 1,000 children, young people, women with disabilities. And these programs are coming with SMME development, are coming with those that are in civil construction, are coming with skilling and reskilling. The solar plant that is going to be constructed at Noitgedacht towards the area of Ezinambeni, there is a farm called Noitgedacht today.
Okay.
That solar plant is going to be a project that exists for 30 years, but it's going to take a massive of people at its construction, and it's going to have almost 400 permanent employees into that. That solar plant is going to assist also in generation energy that will be then connected into the grid, and also assist the city where we want to regenerate in terms of now the new energy that we must be putting into the new houses that will be built into the city. So we have these proposals that are sitting at the table at the municipalities that say, how can we best assist the municipality to develop? Which we're looking into them, which they must also give us an opportunity to create job opportunities for the people of the city, and also create SMME support. And we are excited with the study tour, because the study tour, it must also give us an essence on the climate change project and programs that we want to put our children, our young people, our women, our people with disability into those programs. And I would love if into that study tour, we can have an exchange program where we'll take our young people to go and study into Europe about issues of renewable energy, which I have advocated that into the Presidential Climate Change Commission meeting to say, Nama exchange program will assist us so that our young people are not only residing into the city, but they broaden up in going to other countries and learn what other countries are doing, and come back and impart that knowledge and develop our city and develop our country. And the rest we'll be talking to with it on the 31st of October when I have the breakfast session. I hope the podcast is going to be invited.
If you invite us,
to
we'll
listen,
definitely
to listen to the executive mayor, the 100 days. Would want to make it a round table so that the GMs of these mining industries that we have here are also committing into their SLP as to what is the contribution that they are going to make into the city as the city is developing, and when we're going to do those things. Because as a person, I really love to see action in what I do. I want to see an end point of what I said it must happen. So it should have time frames, it should project implementation, so that everybody's appraised on the fact that these things are going to happen, and they are happening. It is not electioneering, it is something that should have happened. And now I am trying my utmost best with the team, with the municipal management, to make it happen, to implement, to grow our city, and turn around the environment of the city, and change the way the people look into the city. And those that are not paying services, to come and pay services. We've even tried to minimize issues of the red tape in our budget policy and payment services policy, so that we allow everybody to come and pay services. And we are excited that people are responding. We find out that the middle class, businesses, people who are living in these expensive estate houses are 0 cents, are not paying electricity. Therefore, they are stealing electricity. And we are embarking on attending to them to say they must come back. And we are procuring a system that must give us an sense as to When did you start stealing electricity? And if you are working, you must account to that so that you pay the municipality the money it deserves. The electricity that you stole, it must be accounted for, both in business, both in the middle class, so that we attract those that are unemployed and begin to engage with the municipality to enter into this program policy of the indigent registration.
Well, we are happy to hear that there's steps that are afoot to deal with the problem in the culture of non-payment. I think that definitely contributes to the problems that the municipality is faced with. And I think the enormity of this 8 billion that's outstanding is also a cause for much concern. But we are encouraged by the fact that there is also a public-private partnership initiative that is going on. Because when I look at even the state of national government now and the level in which they're so highly indebted, there will need to be more social players outside of the public sector who are involved, who, for instance, through the President's Presidential Investment Summit, were able to pledge a certain amount of money. I really hope that that's something that we can even see in our city, investment summits where people are coming in and they are, investing in certain projects that will, enhance the image of our city. Because let's call a spade, the city is in a state of decay. We have been seeing that the city is deteriorating somewhat. And even though we have heard what you have been saying, we really feel that, there's many opportunities for our city to grow, and there's many opportunities for other people to be involved. I think at this point, government should not be left to do this task by themselves. And equally as well, I'm also happy that you touched on the fact of young people getting involved in the economy. I think many people feel quite left out of the opportunities of eMalahleni. We know that there is wealth here, but the people who are born here, the people who live here, have not gotten access to those opportunities. So I know for a fact that that's something that concerns a lot of people. And it hurts because if you're someone who grew up in this city, you see a lot of people that you grew up with, being hooked on things like nyawope. And these are people who are very intelligent, people who had so much potential, but maybe because of, an opportunity that was lost or something not happening for them in life, they decided to really look at, some comfort in drugs and whatnot. Which brings me to my next question, perhaps, the issue of drugs. In our platform, one of the things that we always ask the people that we interview is, what can you do to basically give back to your community, or to enlarge or enhance your community, to do something that will better the lives of people around you? So I would love to pass that question to you, but I'm going to get a bit personal because the drug one is an issue for me. And I really feel that eMalahleni needs a rehab. Our children are dying, mama, because of drugs. And I feel that with your position of influence, you have the power to, at the very least, initiate something that will deal with this. Because these are potential income providers. These are potential tax providers to the fiscus. These are potential ratepayers. But their potential has been cut down as a result of, maybe, as I said, opportunities that were not afforded to them, or some life incidents. So that's something maybe that I'd like to put to you also as a suggestion, that maybe we should initiate some sort of rehab initiative, and also get you, the viewers, and the community that we reside in, to be involved through some crowdfunding initiative or something that we can do to really alleviate this. Because as LEAD, one of the things that we are passionate about, we don't want just to be a talk shop, but we want it to be a talk shop with action. So when we walk away from here, we must commit that there's something that we are going to initiate to do that. So I want to pass that question to you before we close. Would you be able to initiate such a measure?
Indeed, Sol, the issue of substance abuse in eMalahleni is not on the rise, it's very high. But we need to find a root cause. We need to find drug lords. We need to find those people who are drug dealers.
Yeah.
Because you might take children into rehabilitation, but when you don't even have plan as to how do we then take them away from this substance abuse, they will eventually go back. You know, I was disturbed in 2 weeks when I got a call from Father Zwane of the Roman Catholic Church, who was saying there are more than 350 young people, all racial, colored, white, black, people coming from 9 provinces, residing at a shaft in Coronation. All of them are drug lords, both boys and girls. They impregnate one another there. When a girl gives birth to that child, there is no necessary medical attention. That child eventually dies. They bury the child there. It's bad. And they wanted me to go with them there. But because of commitment, I requested a team from the city of Malahleni that they should go with Father there. They gave me a report. There is a need. There is a need. But we must find those that are selling drugs in the city. In my initiative to deal with drugs is that we must find Uxolane. Uxolane is a child from Steve Chwet, the one who's running the programs of Toll, so that we make collaboration with him and any other active groups to say, let's deal with drugs in Malahleni. Government has built a state-of-the-art of a rehab center just between Malahleni and Victor Khanya. That rehab center remains a white elephant, which us as a Malahleni, we must move with private sector in making sure that we resource that rehab. We find an NPO, whether it's Xolane or it's any other NPO, into the city, that they will manage that rehab center, working with the Department of Social Development, so that our children are given an opportunity. But even if they go out there, they should be finding us ready on the skills that we must put them in, onto a program that it must keep them busy, so that they don't go back into issues of drugs. It is bad. It is bad. Those children that are residing there, others, their families from the city of Malahleni, I say we've allowed him to go and stay there. Because for him or her to be in the house, everything is just getting lost. A teaspoon is getting lost. Anything is getting lost. So when they are residing there, it's much better than to be there at home. You could see that even families have abandoned those children. And it's going to take us a mammoth task to say, how do we bring families? How do we bring the people of the city? How do you bring pastors? Because there should be a reviving of a moral regeneration. How do we then make sure these children are comfortable even if they are staying with us without us being afraid to go to a cell phone will be disappearing? We must bring that moral motion to say, you are a human being. I'm also a human being. And these things of drugs are something that you should not live with. But you should be a normal person. And we need people, business people, we need private sector to say, I don't want to look at that old picture of this young person. I want to look into the new picture. So that they are afforded these opportunities also, which it takes the entire city. It takes the entire structures of the city to say, sibambisana kanjani nomasipala, so that we embark on this program. But we must deal with drug lords. We must deal with these drug handlers because they're the ones that are creating problems. And the city of Malahleni, on issues of security, we wanted to establish a tactical team. A tactical team that will have also a modern technology. That we don't have, you don't have to seek here only physical people to say we are combating crime. But we must use modern technology that will give us data as to where crime is normally taking place, and that place hinted it as a hotspot, and then embark on a physical intervention. While we have created that include on our cable theft, on our infrastructure vandalism, to say let us be able to assess through that innovation of modern technology, and then begin to react on the basis that you now have a clear data as to what is happening where, and maybe the identification of these people, so that SAPS also comes in on board. We've requested Minister Kwete Mantashe to say he must contact Minister Cele. We want him into the city of Emalahleni with his task team, so that we see that we deal with these issues of this drug lord. The operation Chanela is currently in KZN. It's going to be moving in Gauteng, in Limpopo. We'll hear as to when they are going to come to Mpumalanga, because we must be ready ourselves to say these are the areas of hotspot of serious crime, because Malahleni is one of the areas that have been identified as one of the #1 crime city. And therefore, we need the minister, we need that tactical team, we need our CPF, we need our community, because those crime inventors or people that are doing crime are the people that we reside with, are the people that are in our backyards. They are our neighbors. So we need everybody to come into this program, so that as we deal with it, we also are able to be in the position to say, how do we then combat, how do we then develop, so that people don't go back into crime, don't go back into this substance abuse.
And I think for a city with so many people, it's actually very sad that we only have one police station in the town area of Emalahleni and 3 in the greater Emalahleni area. I think maybe that's something that the Minister Bheki Cele must also look into. The fact that the policing as well it leaves much to be desired, to put it very mildly. Unfortunately.
We are correct, because we have made an application to have another police station in Siagoba. The violence that is taking place into the city gives us less opportunity for sector department to come closer to the people. At Emalahleni old municipal offices, we had a satellite of a police station. But due to violent strikes, that satellite had to be closed down. Our people are diminishing themselves to have opportunities, to have closer sector department to them, as and when they are embarking on violent strike. No department, no investor wants to come into a city that is violent. So we're taking this opportunity to say, I've requested them in my visitation that violence should be the last thing. My office is open 24/7. We must engage up to the last point where we say we'll have to compromise something else for them to get what they want, for us to avert strikes. So we're appealing that strike does never solve any problems. And at times, you strike for things that will not be able to resolve them immediately. You see the strike of the Eznambe. It had to come and go because we were not able to resolve that matter at the time of the strike. So there is no reason. And when we say there is no money to buy a transformer now, we'll have to look somewhere else. Therefore, the strike will not give you the positive results that you need. On the basis that we still have to go out and request and seek donation. And that takes time. That takes time. But we want to be a responsive government. We want to have investment that says, when there is such a serious outage, are we able to deal with that matter in a matter of a week or in a matter of 2 weeks? So that responsive government is also seen as definitely a government that cares about their people, but that warrants as to whether do we have something in the past. And if you don't have anything and keep on asking from people, that takes time. So you don't need to strike. The executive mayor is here, willing to talk to everybody, willing to face challenges as they are. And they must also acknowledge, Uguti, we have problems. We do not have enough resources. And therefore, how best can we then join together to deal with that problem rather than deciding to ban infrastructure, infrastructure that you do not have and that you will suffer for another 10 years. Paula Ochis, they've been a beautiful city hall. It's 10 years now. Now they are trying to have the city hall back. How and when are we going to get money to build that city hall back? You see? So a violent strike is never a solution.
It's never a solution.
That is what we're appealing to our young people, and we're appealing to those leaders of those structures to say, let's have conversation rather than going on strike and see which door can we knock and say, enter here intervene here.
Yeah.
This is as of a matter of urgent that needed to be implemented. And I think we've got that potential. It is a matter of saying, how do we then discuss and engage with our people and beg them to say, wait for us up until this time. We are really telling them that when we're going to do these things, we're going to do them. And it's not a false promise.
Yeah.
And we want to embark on giving hope to our people to say, we're not giving you false promises.
Yeah.
We've told them that the second transformer was going to come back. It came back.
Yeah.
We're telling them that the buffer substation second transformer is going to come back towards the month end of October. And indeed, it's going to be there. It's going to be commissioned. We're going to reduce load shedding. We are telling them that we have come back on the table with ESCOM for an increase of bulk supply. That is happening. ESCOM wants to see us if we're complying into the current payment of our current account payment and a bulk supply, we'll be getting them. People of Clarinet will have their own electricity. We'll continue with our own subsidy. We will give them those things. And indeed, we're asking them to give us just time to deal with these things. And not matters that you can resolve overnight, but are matters that we're worried about and would want to see them closing them as we are dealing with
Very
them.
true. Very true.
Executive Mayor, we are running out of time, so I think we should draw to a close now. But before I do that, you know, there's always a young person out there who's watching and who's looking and who is absolutely just in love with your story.
Looking
What
up to
words, yes, what words do you have for that young girl, that young boy out there, to inspire them that it's possible? Your leadership pearls of wisdom.
Young people, I was once young. I was once having ambitions. Focus on your education. The country has got a lot of opportunities. You have a country that cares about you. The fact that there is so much high unemployment, it is not because of South Africa. It is because of the global environment that gives us such an opportunity for us not to be able to grow economy. But all that we're saying is that there are opportunities that exist. If you are educated, you have a better chance for you to establish yourself. If you are not educated, there is free education. There are free capacity building that both local, provincial, national government is providing. There is presidential stimulus, which also gives us an opportunity to take young people to study in the country and abroad. And these opportunities, we must bring them to you so that you also take those opportunities. There is private sector that is ambitiously waiting for us to present to them as to how many people wants to be part of those industrialization, of those manufacturing company, which you should come forth. Hence, we are saying our LED that must be fully functional, must be able to respond to your need. Don't lose hope on South Africa. Don't lose hope on the African National Congress. I'm narrating my story that I was once a backyard dweller. Today I have 2 properties. I am proud of the hard work that I have put on. And remember that these things do not come as you are seated at home. You must be a hustler. You must come out. You must phone the executive mayor and say, this is what I want to do. And see how best can I channel you to be assisted. I don't need your money because I know you don't have it. You must just say, this is the business proposal I have. And see how best can we then enter into all these provincial sector government as well as private sector to be assisted. Opportunities does exist. Opportunities are here. Don't lose out. Don't embark on deciding to take drugs because drugs are only destroying your future, are destroying your seed. Country must grow. We must have men and women of the future that must take this country forward. And therefore, that future belongs to you. Till now, we have made our part. We are just exiting. We need a sober, young generation that must take this country forward. And it is you. It is your good self seated there at home We want professionals, we want engineers, we want pilots, we want inventors, we want scientists, and you are that person.
Yeah.
Come on board and see how best we can help you. Don't lose out, don't lose hope, don't judge yourself on the background of your family. You can change your life. I told you earlier that I was brought up by a single mom, and today I am independent. Nobody tells me what to do with my money. Of course, I share it with my kids and my husband, but I decide on my money.
Yeah.
Make yourself that person. Don't look at the background. The background must not dictate your future. Your future is brighter than what you see. Therefore, hold us by hand. Hold us accountable. Give us those proposals. Come to us. And Tina, let us be responsible as leaders to give you that opportunity to rise up, because South Africa can rise up. For the fact that we're a developing country, it's an indication that you can develop as the country is developing. So take this initiative, take these opportunities, bring them on board. We're waiting for them so that we rise South Africa up with your good selves.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I think our viewers can also see that you cannot be defined by your background. You cannot be defined by your circumstances. You cannot be defined
100%.
by where you come from. So I think having had you here as a guest, we can then just highlight to our viewers that they must grab the bulls by the horns.
Definitely.
You know, take each and every opportunity as it comes. You know, make use of the opportunities that lie before you, and make education a priority. Because we tend to shy away from education because we think that even with education, there are no opportunities out there for us. You know, we are feeling discouraged, but I think your story here today is going to encourage somebody, even if it's just one or two people, but somebody's life is going to be touched through your story. We thank you so much for joining us, and we thank our viewers as well for taking time to listen to our podcast. Thank you, Ma'am LEAH MABUZA, for gracing us with your presence today.
Thank
We
you so much,
appreciate
Ian.
it.
Thank you so much, Todd,
Thank you.
for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll be in touch again very soon. As always, we'll bring you leaders, we'll inspire you, and we will encourage you to become a leader in your sphere as well. Lead, empower, and develop. We are active on social media. Please follow our social media handles that will be posted on this video as well. Till we see each other again, take care. Bye-bye.
Lost a good job being a cedar, working for a man every night and day, and I never lost 1 minute of sleeping. I was worried about the way things might have been. Big wheel keep on turning, proud Mary keep on burning. Said we rolling, rolling, yeah, rolling on the river. Said we rolling, rolling, rolling.